Hello guys, my name is Natos. Today we have another video, and this time it is yet another video for Play.gg. Here we'll be taking a look at the best T-sided team, NAVI, and the worst T-sided team, MIBR, and comparing and looking at the differences. Enjoy! In this first round between NAVI and FaZe, we see NAVI do a default T pistol round. As we all know, pistol rounds are probably the most random round in Counter-Strike, but by playing a default T pistol round on a map like Dust 2, you are taking the guesswork out of the pistol round and instead you rely on your player's mid-round decision making. You also ensure that you don't get caught out by any random CT aggression, and with how this pistol panned out for NAVI, I would say it was a great choice to go with a default pistol round. In this match, NAVI got 13 T-sided rounds on Dust 2 against FaZe Clan, at the time world number 1 at the Blast Premier Spring Final 2022. What I want to highlight about NAVI's style of play here is how they are really good at taking map control with very limited utility. They stay quiet on the map on all the parts that are not moving, and even the parts that are moving are only taking the map control with a single flashbang or sometimes with just a contact play. By taking the map control in this manner, you are not only ensuring that you have the maximum amount of utility left towards the end of the round, but you are also ensuring that the CTs have a very hard time pushing anywhere on the map, seeing as they have very little info about where you actually are situated. By slow playing a map like Dust 2, you can really pull the rotations back and forth, and that's what we see NAVI do in this case, where they put a lot of pressure short, then they catch the two mid players, and then afterwards they go together towards the B bomb site. Unfortunately for NAVI, Robs decides to actually tuck in at the back of the plateau. He does get one single kill, and I'm not quite sure if Perfecto messes up this plant or if there just was no time, but at least it seems to be a little too late for NAVI. In round 5, NAVI are again playing just a regular old default. They're gonna be taking long because of the spawn. They get an entry frag that gets traded by Kerrigan, who actually manages to fight really well for the long control in this situation. Immediately after this, NAVI fall back towards the B bomb site, and Robs, who has pushed for info, gets taken down by Young. Then NAVI make their way into the lower tunnels, and again at this exact moment Kerrigan is making an aggressive play, gets taken out, and at this moment the round is more or less said and done. With how little info that NAVI have been giving away on their T side, FaZe have to change something up. Instead of holding down an angle, we see Brokey here jiggling for info to find out what's coming his way before it does. Unfortunately, he never saw this coming. Off this entry, NAVI are now exploring their options. They are seeing if it's possible to go B-split, and with Twists taking down Bit, they kind of get a little bit scared of doing so. But with Electronic trading out this frag, NAVI are now knowing that the B player is completely alone. And with Electronic getting into the corner here, getting Kerrigan down as well, NAVI are surely gonna win this round. Right? A whole lot closer than I would have initially anticipated, but Young coming in here as the stand-in, winning a massive 1 vs 2. Now we're going to see NAVI in a 3 vs 4, a round where they're actually on the back foot from kind of the beginning. Notice the detail how Electronic only peaks when NAVI throw the Molotov. It's not even a nade that affects Robs directly, but he expects that NAVI are coming from short, and because of this he moves just one step, which is enough for Electronic to strike. An extremely simplified way of explaining how calling works in Counter-Strike is that there are kind of 3 ways to do it. There are reaction-based calls, calls based off of reads, and just defaults. In this case, NAVI are going to make a call based on a read. They're going to fake that they take long. They're only going to leave one guy there, and in this round where FaZe now are fighting so heavy mid to stop the default, they're going to pop B on Robs, and he's going to have a very tough time. NAVI, who have been running down the clock in almost every single round we've seen so far, decide that in this round, round number 13, they're just gonna rush B. This is another call based off of a feeling, based off of a read. It's decided in the spawn, and they decide to just go for it. A lot of teams and a lot of in-game leaders don't really possess the ability to run all three styles of calling I talked about earlier. A top team will, and in this case we see NAVI do a reaction-based call. We've seen very slow defaults, we've seen calls based off reads. Here is a reaction-based call. Now we've seen what a top team, probably the best team right now, NAVI, are capable of doing on their T-sides. Now we're gonna head over to MIBR, who have the lowest round win percentage on the T-side of any top 30 team in the last 6 months. I thought the best way to show you what to do and what not to do on the T-side is showing you first a demo of what to do and then a demo of what not to do. That way we can more easily analyze what makes a team successful on the T-side. Here we see MIBR actually doing a default T-pistol round just like we talked about before, but for them they actually regain the B control and then they make the wrong call and go back towards A. Heroic decides to heavy mid-fight, and with this they get a kill. This leaves the T's in a 3 versus 5 situation where they're gonna fake a B push. At this moment, Jota is gonna walk out on A, but he doesn't really seem hyper aware when he peeks this corner and immediately gets taken down by Shush. So in this 3 versus 5, we saw 2 guys faking and 1 guy going alone trying to make the play. Now they smoke small pit in the 2 versus 5, and it could have actually worked out quite okay. They could have taken the A bomb site against 2 defenders, but instead with 20 seconds left, Turtle is lurking alone long and the bomb goes alone short. There's just a complete disconnect between these last 2 players, but honestly the last 3 players, and it just doesn't pan out. In this round, MIBR have 45 seconds left on the clock and they have just smoked the top of Banana to try and take some control back. But with them smoking the top of Banana, it makes it very hard for them to actually get any real control, and they don't clear top of Banana, meaning that the CGs now have pretty much full info. At this moment they also smoke long, and with just about 15 seconds left they decide to jump through their own long smoke for whatever reason. There's a guy hiding in the long corner and yeah, they lose. That's about as much as I can say. Also, when the short player here dies, the guy in Epps is fully smoked out with 7 seconds left. It's just a bad round. Here is another T-side disconnect. In this case, MIBR actually trying to fight for the top of Banana, which is great to see. But when this Molotov comes in, Exit, who is the frontman, runs back, and Turtle, who is behind him, runs forward. There's just no clear plan for what's supposed to happen here when the Molotov comes in, and it looks a little awkward. In the end, they actually decide to go B anyway, and yeah, if it wasn't for Cello getting these crazy entries, they probably wouldn't even have had a single chance in this round. Round 21 is kind of another question mark. They have cleared the top of Banana this time, so the CTs don't have too much info, but there is 0 Apps pressure. Jota is playing so passive in Apps, and when they Molotov off short, it's clear that they are not going short. So with these smokes, it's very clear that they are going long. It's what they've tried to use just a few rounds before. Heroic are stacked here, and for the T side, it ends horribly. At the start of the video, I showed a bad round from a good team, at least one where NAVI failed to plant. So I thought this time I'll show you a good round from a, so to say, bad team, here at least on the T side. In this round, MIBR actually early take mid control. They are giving away Banana, but in this case it seems alright because Heroic are not really playing for the info. They notice that long is sort of free, and what this could kind of give you a wrong impression of is that with long being free we can easily B-split, but with the short guy fighting, and I guess with no one really contesting this area, they assume that they are heavily stacked on B. They decide to go around library, and when Heroic try to update info long, it's just such a free frag for Cello. This frag comes in, Shush hides and Epps, and MIBR just straight up win the round. Here is another very questionable round. Heroic have all the B control, as you can see on the minimap, and MIBR are not contesting this. They are also not really putting pressure Epps, so it's pretty clear that if they're not B and they're not making sound in Epps, they're probably coming mid. That's what Shush also finds out in this moment. He tries to block mid a little bit. Now MIBR are gonna actually get sort of given mid, but Heroic are gonna do something pretty smart. They're gonna smoke off short and block it. So now that short is blocked and they have not at all made any noise or played aggressive apps in any rounds, and they also are not B, there's only one place that they can go, which is long, so that's what Heroic are gonna now defend, funnily enough. When they flash out long, they don't see anything, they use the utility, Heroic counter flash out, and these duels are just extremely rough for MIBR and they don't really have any chance of winning them. These rounds in isolation don't seem all that bad, but with how many times these things happen for MIBR in just a single half, it's very worrying. They had 9 CT rounds on Inferno against Heroic, which is a great Inferno team. And look at this round where they leave Banana at like 102 or something. It takes them 30 seconds to even set up, and in this time Stavn is pushing on B. He knows everyone is towards A, and Cello somehow hears him, also takes him down. At this moment Cello should know that Stavn had all the info and that everyone from Heroic is on A. He still decides to go with the plan instead of trying to put some pressure on B or something, and Daisy overlooks the guy in headshot pit. It's just, this whole round is just a mess and very poorly done. In round 25, Daisy here finds a mid-timing. I know, by the way, the person's name is not Daisy, but the name is ridiculous and I have no idea how to pronounce it, so Daisy works for me. He takes down Thesis here on long, and instead of staying alive and playing this like the threat is greater than the action, he just rushes towards B, gets taken down, and when you switch to his teammate's point of view, they are not even through the banana smoke. It's just disconnect again. In the round straight after that, round 26, Daisy here is gonna get taken down by a mid push. It's gonna get traded out, and with this MIBR wants to make a reaction based call like we talked about earlier. But in this case, the call is made and Shush is just having all of the A info the entire round. It's not so bad to try a reaction-based call when you've not had a good T-side, but in this case, Shush just has all the info. With how little MIBR has ever put pressure on apps, you can pretty safely assume with the pressure on B that there is no apps lurk. And with this, he just goes over, wins the round for Heroic, of course. It's nice of them to try a reaction-based call, but they just had so little info to work with, and it just felt more like a gamble than anything else. The last round of this Inferno match is round 27, where Heroic are gonna pick up the win, of course. Cello here is gonna be doing a sort of one-man solo fake over on the A bomb site, and they're gonna try to hit B. But this is a really bad fake from a guy who has had an outstanding performance. He's just random shooting in the long smoke, and it's so clear that this is some kind of weird fake. Another big issue for MIBR is that they smoked the half wall early, and they turned off a Molotov bottom banana. Plus they use 2 smokes to fake on A, so they can never use a smoke in CT early to fake out utility from Heroic. Because of this, MIBR are gonna get smoked out with 30 seconds left, which puts Cello in a spot where he now has to fake a little bit more pressure. I really like this. He forces out a smoke and he makes it actually seem like it could be A. But when MIBR go through this smoke, there comes a Molo, and after this Molo, Cadian is gonna go through with a flash to just create some chaos with the low time. Thesis is gonna take down the bomb planner, and the time is gonna run out on both MIBR and me, so thank you so much for watching the video.